Welcome 107.
Hey, what's going on out here anyway?
Oh, what a beautiful view.
Yeah, they've been out surfing since 5 this morning.
Wow.
Spectacular day today. It's another beautiful day in paradise.
Good
So
evening, Juan. This is Anna here from Brazil. How are you?
good. How are you doing today?
I'm perfect. Now that you joined us, and I have a- many friends who are already very aware of you, of course, who are. They are, and they love you. I call you the voice. I call you the voice because for me you are, and the voice. And I want to introduce them to you, and it's my pleasure to be talking to you. It's an honor to be talking to you since a long time without speaking to you directly. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and I apologize. We had time difference or whatever, and I guess we had the clocks changed or whatever. I wasn't paying that close of attention, so I was thinking we were 4 hours off or 5 hours off. We were 4 hours off, so uh, I was late getting here, and I apologize on that.
Oh, that's no problem. Thank you. We would wait for you. No
Uh,
problem.
that's very
Thank you.
sweet.
We have here, I don't know, Rob Cunningham, Dylan Monroe, that you already know in person, Mike Lincoln, who is a dear friend, a new acquaintance of mine too, and Mr. Cranker. Um, and please, guys, this is 107, the one and only.
Well, it's very sweet to get to be with a cool panel like you guys. And I saw one of the notes you guys were talking about the Federal Reserve stuff. Let me just lead off real quickly. Over the weekend, President Trump called the Federal Reserve likely a criminal organization. That's a very, very, very strong terminology to apply to a federal agency. But most people aren't aware. They don't understand. No, Federal Reserve is a private banking institution. They are no more federal than Federal Express. They manage the printing and the interest rates for our money supply, and they do it from federal office locations. That's one of the things that Trump has been making clear that we're not going to pay for that as a people anymore. And he's starting to put the screws to the whole Federal Reserve operation. Um, Last week, even though I've been aware of something for over 10 years now, last week I decided to begin discussing a problem that is very, very, very serious that the Federal Reserve has been involved in. And that is uh, the printing of money, uh, vast, vast, vast quantities of money that have been parked all over the world, pallets of cash. Um, the cash has, for the most part, not been distributed. It's controlled with devices that would melt them down, burn them down, if you tried to open them up without the proper security features being engaged. And so you may remember, for example, there was two $100 million pallets of cash that were discovered by people looting offices in Syria as Syria fell and as Assad was fleeing the country to Russia. And so they tried to open those pallets of cash, and to their dismay, as they begin to take the plastic off of it and pull it apart, they just burned down, melted down right before their eyes. $200 million gone because they didn't have the right procedures to do it. So they stopped and reserved those pallets, the remainder of them. They're looking for a way to cash those in. But let me tell you about a particular couple of incidents, one that many people in this audience may already be aware of. And that was when a aircraft arrived in Tehran, Iran, on the tarmac and was famously photographed with hundreds of dollars of pallets of cash in the aircraft that were being deposited with the Iranians during the Obama administration, tail end of the Obama administration. It was very upsetting, very disturbing that this money was going to Iran, who at the same time was doing all sorts of terroristic activities against America around the world. In that case, that has a few, tens of millions or tens of billions of dollars that went to the administration there. Let me tell you about something else that happened at the same time. See, Federal Reserve has been printing up, authorizing to print up, and did this under the Bush administration, Bush 2, and under the Obama administration. They printed up tens and 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 tens of billions of dollars, paper dollars, Federal Reserve notes is what they're technically called. And then we're distributing them, these pallets of cash, all over planet Earth. Now, they weren't actually getting broken up and handed out generally, but they were being parked in these places. Afghanistan, Ghana, some stuff ended up in several Mideastern countries, Vietnam, Thailand, and places across South America. And there is a very, 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 I will not disclose it today, but a very strong tie to Brazil and what happened here that will shock people. The criminality of FBI officers, DEA officers, Drug Enforcement Agency, and CIA officers in the way that they dealt with Brazilian citizens, the Brazilian banks. Remember, my history is that I was one of the key people at the end. Started out kind of as the riffraff, but ended up in a key position in taking down the Russian ruble, which was the last step in taking down the Soviet Union. And so I have a little bit of understanding of what happens with currencies. And you can't undermine a currency or take it down just in the bank ledgers, in the digital currency transactions inside the banks, the reserve system, and things like that, even internationally. The banks would stop it. The stop gaps are easily in place. But when you have cash and it's being traded around at the street level, it's out of control. It's out of control of the government even. A black market can be created, and then the value of that cash can float. And if there's too much of it, it's too available, if there's any issue, even if you associated some kind of a disease with the cash, made it a pariah to handle it, things like that, all of a sudden its value can go down dramatically. When we started sifting Russian rubles back into the Russian economy at the end of Glasnost, at the beginning of the first Bush administration and the tail end of Reagan, the ruble was traded on the black market 40 rubles to $1 US. By the time we were done, in just a matter of months, it had gone to 200 rubles to $1 US. And that's when Gorbachev picked up the phone and called President Bush and asked for some assistance. And President Bush said, well, I see the wall's still up. Reagan said, tear down that wall. And so Gorbachev, within 4 hours, called, had the guards removed from the towers, and a short while later, the wall came tumbling down. So with that in mind, it's the same thing today, but it was planned to be reversed against America and against the whole world. Very insidious thing happened during the Obama administration, and prior to that, the Bush administration was involved also. It wasn't just thousands of pallets of U.S. Federal Reserve notes. It was tens of thousands. We estimate about 17,000. Some estimates were as high as 22,000. I think those are wrong because of what exactly was going on. But we also see British pounds, Brazilian currency, Japanese yen, German currency, Deutschmarks, and other currencies that have been palletized and parked all over the world. For what purpose? What end? Because the people receiving it, they can't open those pallets up and suddenly spend it on whatever they want to. It's just sitting there. Why would it be sitting there? The reason is because had Hillary Clinton won, which was the plan in 2016, they were going to begin distributing those currencies out and starting to destabilize all the paper currencies. The dollar, the yen, the Deutschmark, Brazilian bola, everything, the euro, and removing confidence and moving people into cryptos and then their own world currency that they intended to bring online. This was all being pushed by a club of Eurocentric people that had a plan. Now, the problem is that's still out there floating and it's waiting for just the right signals to be sent to allow those pallets to be opened up all over the place and then to weaken all of the trade in currencies all over the world. That's part of the fight. You think you know everything that's going on, why Trump's doing this and that, something else. You know, about 2.5 weeks ago, Trump called in several senators that are trusted allies. And they spent all of about a week and a half just on Treasury matters. When people were wondering where was President Trump, is he ill, is there something wrong with him, whatever, he did a couple private interviews, but in the meantime, he was actually doing private work, working on what's coming with what's happening over at Treasury. And I mentioned previously in the weeks past that after the events in June, where we had the huge Army's anniversary celebration, and then the two flags put up on the White House front lawn, President Trump put security fencing around the White House and then simultaneously around the U.S. Treasury. But no other building in Washington, D.C. Why? Because it was symbolic. He is going to protect the Treasury dollar. He is not going to protect the Federal Reserve dollar. And the Treasury dollar, the constitutional dollar, is gold and silver coin, minted by the U.S. Treasury, not the Federal Reserve. Fight's on. This is a very big deal, and people need to be aware of and paying attention to what I'm saying. This is a very, very serious situation across the world. You could have a nuclear bomb go off. It would be less endangering, probably less deadly than an attack in the currency market. So, and I'm saying that because in the case of South America and specifically Brazil, you're in a very precarious situation. Look what's going on next door right now and has been now for the last couple of weeks. Ecuador. Anybody doubt that Ecuador is on the verge of a full all-out civil war inside of Ecuador? Am I overstating the situation? Let alone the contagion into other countries. Venezuela's already gone through some kind of a horror for the last several years. We're not wrong. We're going after Maduro. We're going to pick him up, drag him in, and try to help Venezuela. Why would Venezuela be so poor when they literally have the greatest oil reserves on planet Earth, greater than anything in the Mideast? It's insane. So we're coming to help. We're going to make a difference. We're going to get our country under control. We're going to help get other countries under control, including our friends in South America and Brazil specifically. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys in some of your conversations.